Hello Pisces, Pisces rising and Pisces moon people, this is your monthly astrological horoscope for December 2017. Just a quick reminder for all of you Pisces people out there, remember that these horoscopes talk about the big sweeping aspects of the month going on in the background, which means I don't ever really put anything in these monthly horoscopes that is here today, gone tomorrow. If you're interested in more short-term aspects, I do recommend you check out your weekly astrology horoscopes. My weekly horoscopes the first half are exclusively astrology, so there you go, there's something in it for everybody. And of course, if you ever want to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com. So, what is going on with the astrology this month for you? Well, it looks to be starting off on a great angle. We've got Venus from the 1st to the 25th in your 10th house of career. And with Venus in the 10th house of career, we are sort of handed on a silver platter a lot of competitive advantages that normally we'd have to work a lot harder for when it comes to the work we do, the money we make, the jobs we're applying for, and so on and so forth. Venus allows us to earn favor very, very quickly and to even get favors and even actually handouts, possibly handouts or even gifts from people at the office, whether it's gifts from, your superiors or simply gifts from your clientele. These could be things that actually turn into gifts that keep on giving. And the good news is again, it's here for over 3 weeks. We've also got, however, Mercury retrograde from the 3rd to the 22nd in this part of your chart as well. With Mercury retrograde in the 10th house of career, it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, everything's a mixed bag. There's no hard and fast, black or white, super simple, easy breezy way to look at astrology. Anyone who says there is lying. But the Mercury retrograde in the 10th house, can create, let's talk about some of the issues that can come up. Mercury retrograde in the 10th house can indicate some confusion going on with unnecessary shuffling when it comes to, workplace procedure this month, excuse me. And sometimes this can happen where the powers that be, or perhaps even the people you're applying to work for, the company or the organization you're trying to work for, or even the way you're handling your home-based business, may be too experimental for its own good. And it's important to pay attention to a Mercury retrograde in the 10th house because it can indicate a lot of false starts if we decide to bite off on something too unconventional or too spastic and crazy simply for the sake of having a change. You're definitely put on notice here. I would be very mindful about entertaining any new ideas or any new work prospects, especially if you do have a job. I would take everything with a grain of salt during a Mercury retrograde. Sometimes we are tempted to leave a situation for something better. Somebody's trying to win us over, somebody's trying to headhunt and pull us over to their company. But it may not necessarily actually be that the grass is greener on the other side. In fact, it might not even be grass. So it's important to pay attention, when we have that going on. However, on the good side, Mercury retrograde in the 10th house can be a great time to revisit and rework old opportunities that we maybe had to set aside in the past, or something that went by the wayside before we could actually cash in on it. Old clients and customers will be returning to you, possibly old business partners and colleagues as well, for a renewal. There's another word to go with the retrograde. Renew is also a huge key here. Heal over time, very affordable. And usually with Mercury retrograde in the 10th house, when we talk about bringing back all these old folks, this can be a resurgence, another word, where you are actually noticing maybe customers and clients coming back, work coming back, more desirable projects coming back to you. So trying to reach out and far away, into distant horizons just for the sake of experimentation, not necessary or recommended. On the 3rd as well, we've got a full moon in Gemini in your 4th house of home and family, opening up a 14-day window. Remember, lunations last 14 days in their influence in this area of your chart. And a lot of you Pisces people may be deciding to wrap up your stay where you are. Some of you may be looking for a new place to live, or deciding to reach a conclusion that maybe you and your partner want to relocate. Some of you may be actually deciding to, give your landlord your notice, or talk to an accountant or a realtor about releasing or getting rid of a property. Remember, Mercury retrograde is in the 10th house, not in the 4th house. Mercury retrograde only affects the house that it's in. but you want to, of course, take all precautions necessary. Now, this ending could also indicate, a lot of you needing to consider a move, or, maybe some news of a move or a potential move if you're looking for it coming quickly. If we're not looking to relocate, or we're not looking to change properties or anything like that, a full moon in the 4th house actually will affect everybody. It can raise some energy or some tension in the family. And there may actually be some long-standing issue that we've all kept quiet about that does need to be taken care of for good. Usually the full moon in the 4th house will shine a spotlight on the elephant in the room, and this may raise some tensions again when it comes to your nuclear family especially. So your husband, wife, your kids, or your mother, father, brother, sister, all the people that were in either of the present nuclear family or in the nuclear family you grew up in. This, however, does turn into a good energy after all when peace is finally made and whatever we took so long to clear is finally cleared. On the 9th, we've got Mars, planet of action, energy, passion, conviction, in your 9th house. It's moving into your 9th house, Scorpio, where he will be all the way up until the end of January. And Mars in the 9th house is lovely for those of you who are looking to get yourself into a competitive spot where you're trying to broadcast yourself to be seen, and maybe it's to be seen on the airwaves, it's seen on the internet. We have a website we're trying to promote, we have a resume or a CV on LinkedIn or something like that we're trying to really start to get paid attention to. All of this activity plus your career sector, Venus is working double time to help you out there. Mars in the 9th house can also be a wonderful time for those of you in some kind of government or legal proceeding where you need to have a third party sort of handle an obstacle or to remove an obstacle or an impediment to a satisfactory completion of that endeavor. This could indicate, an expert coming your way, a new witness, somebody working for you, not against you. This does usually show up as backup. Mars always does show up as backup here. If there's been some major obstacle to perhaps an academic program you're in or getting into an academic program of your choice, Mars is going to be working hard to competitively, again, push aside any roadblocks that have been keeping you from your academic goals as well. So all in all, a lovely aspect to have. On the 18th, we've got a new moon in your 10th house of career in Sagittarius, opening up another 2-week window for that lunation between the 18th and the end of the month. And this could spell promotions, this could spell a new job title, this could actually bring a raise to a lot of you. Yes, Mercury is still retrograde until the 22nd, but we have a 2-week window for this, so let's not just decide to call it this and that. In fact, with a new moon in the 10th house, we are offered another designation or offered another service to perform, and usually we do end up getting either, again, a raise in title, an increase in a certain type of passive benefit that we get from the office, or even an opportunity to get, again, a raise in terms of cash monies. So either way, looks like a wonderful month for a lot of you Pisces people right out the gate. Now, on the 19th, we've got a big shift going on. We've got Saturn, planet of restrictions, obstacles, and discipline, moving into Capricorn, into your 11th house of friendships and social networking. And he's going to be there for the next 2.5 years. Now, when you have Saturn in Capricorn, usually, for you Pisces people, this is talking about paying attention to your friendships. Saturn behaves very interestingly in social houses. It tends to push us away from, shallow, impressionistic, superficial people. And that means that we may learn some lessons about the types of relationships we've had with people like that over the next few years. It can sometimes feel a bit isolating. It can sometimes feel a bit like we don't get to have the friends that we want to have, and so on and so forth. But what Saturn is doing is trying to, control where you're putting your energy. Usually when people have Saturn in Capricorn, they tend to find that the people around them are all people that would take bullets for each other, and no less. And that can actually be a really good thing if you've been feeling like you've been lacking that in your social space, if you've been lacking that in your social support. But with Saturn in the 11th house, again, it can make it difficult to come to terms with perhaps some friendships and some social contacts that we've made that really aren't up to snuff when it comes to that kind of caliber. It's not as bad as it could be. Saturn in Capricorn is a lot nicer. Saturn and Capricorn's energies move a lot more smoothly and comprehensively. And we tend to see, you know, Saturn not being the textbook scapegoat that people make him out to be. He's not. He shouldn't be a scapegoat in the first place. It's kind of like a dog ate my homework way of treating Mercury retrograde. But with Saturn in Capricorn, you are going to be focusing on, again, what should be and what needs to be, you know, your nearest and dearest and your tightest. Saturn in the 11th house can also, however, challenge people who, in a way where you have to let go of a codependent friendship over the next 2 years, or maybe more than one. And you may not necessarily know if you're in one. Codependency is not, and I'm talking about clinical codependency, or, you know, I guess you could say more textbook codependency, not like Cosmo Vogue, popular Facebook meme codependency. Codependency is where a person feels the need to be needed. Or a codependent relationship is based off the need of the other, not the love of the other. And you may be finding that some of those friendships do need to be fixed, or else Saturn may take them away. We've also got the Sun moving into this area on the 19th, adding some much needed levity to the energy and the shift that as it's going through. And with the Sun in your 11th house, you're still popular, you're still drawing in friends, you're still having good times and sweetness with friends. In fact, this Saturn and Sun combo is probably going to actually force you to heal or patch up a friendship or relationship you didn't know was on the rocks, and give you a chance to actually test out this new energy in a way that gives you a close new reward in the form of a new person in your support system. And that's going to be an energy with us all the way to the third week of January. On the 25th, we've got Venus, planet of love, attraction, and harmony, moving into this 11th house of friendships and social networking. And it really does open up more of the love energy for a lot of you. The last week of the month, and even going well into January, we've got a very, very strong love aspect going on with this Venus, bringing in opportunities to find love through your friendships, through your friendship circle, or perhaps even among them. And those words could start circulating as early as the 25th of this month. So that is your horoscope, Pisces. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.